Need for Speed Carbon is often viewed as the game that marked the beginning of the franchise's decline. While it did improve on some aspects of Most Wanted, offering better graphics, bringing back the nighttime racing, adding more customization options, and even introducing the auto sculpt feature, many fans still feel like it was a bit of a letdown. And it's not that Carbon was a bad game. Far from it. The problem is that it didn't feel like the next big leap forward that we'd grown accustomed to after the revolutionary changes in Underground 2 and Most Wanted. Instead of pushing the series further, it felt like more of a sideways step, which left some fans disappointed despite its solid improvements. The story is linked directly from one game to another. While that continuity is appreciated, it also makes Carbon feel more like an extension of Most Wanted. The story feels like it could have been a DLC or an expansion. In Need for Speed Carbon, you make your way to Palmont City, a place that feels all too familiar. As soon as you arrive, memories start flooding back of why you left in the first place. You had a hand in a high-stakes race organized by Darius, this game's douche, one of the top dogs in the city, where you were racing for him against the main crew bosses. Everything seemed fine until the Palmont Police Department, PPD, showed up, crashing the party and arresting everyone, except for you. In the chaos, Nikki, who was holding the cash prize for the race in a bag, handed it to you just before she was taken. But when you checked the bag later, you realized it wasn't cash you were holding. Darius had screwed you over. So you took off, leaving the city behind. But the weight of that betrayal stayed with you ever since. As you're lost in those memories, things take a turn for the worse. Out of nowhere, you're ambushed by Cross, the now infamous bounty hunter who's after you for being a part of the national most wanted list. This guy just can't let go. I don't want to know what his wife goes through. Anyway, you try to escape, but you end up getting trapped in a construction site. That's when it gets real. Cross pins your ride between his Corvette Z06 and a bunch of steel pipes from the back of a trailer. There's no way out. It seems that this creep finally won. Just when it looks like he's about to haul you away, Darius unexpectedly shows up. He pays Cross the bounty and helps you clear your name, all while giving you a shot at redemption. Darius tells you to form a new crew with the help of Nikki, who's now on your side after everything went down. As you race through the city, you start facing off against the other main crew bosses. Each one is tougher than the last. You also get to recruit new people into your crew along the way, and they slowly start revealing more details about the night that caused you to leave Palmont in the first place. Eventually, you take down all of Darius's crew bosses, but just when you think you've won, Darius betrays you, handing your ass over to Cross once again. Just as things look hopeless, Nikki swoops in to save the day. She makes a deal with Cross that involves her racing for him and paying off your bounty. It's a harsh deal, but it's the only way to get out of the mess Darius put you in. That's when Nikki reveals the truth. Darius had staged that race all along. He was using you as a pawn in his scheme to take over Palmont City. But Nikki wasn't having any of that, and after defecting from Stacked Deck, she joins your crew and helps you take back control of the city. To do that, though, you've got to face off against your former rivals once again. Darius hires all the crew bosses you've already defeated, and with each race, you take back Silverton, one territory at a time. The final showdown with Darius, where everything's put on the line for one last victory. And this time, there's no betrayal waiting for you at the finish line. Of course, you defeat him. Darius accepted defeat more gracefully than Razor did.
Enjoy it while it lasts. There's always someone out there who's a little faster than you are.
But is by far the most manipulative villain we've encountered until now. The strengths of Need for Speed Carbon. Let's talk about what Carbon gets right. First off, the graphics are a huge step up from anything we've seen in Need for Speed up until this point. Palmont City looks incredible, especially on the PS3 version. The level of detail in the city, the lighting, and the reflections make everything feel alive. The streets are glimmering, and the night racing vibe? It's perfect. It feels like the right mood for an illegal street racing game, and it's great to see the nighttime setting make a return. Honestly, it gives the game an almost cinematic feel, pulling you deeper into the world of illegal racing. Now, when it comes to handling, it's not drastically different from Most Wanted. But that's not a bad thing. Carbon keeps that familiar arcade feel that makes the driving fun and accessible. But there's an added level of precision. Whether you're in a drift-heavy corner or just cruising through tight streets, it's smooth enough to keep you engaged without feeling like you're wrestling with the controls. Cars feel different in this game too, with each class offering something unique. Speaking of cars, let's talk about customization. This is where Carbon shines. We've got a solid variety of cars, with European, Japanese, and American options. For the first time, we get to play around with true American muscle. And the Chevrolet Camaro and Plymouth Barracuda are awesome additions for more variety. Those classic muscle cars really bring a different flavor to the game. But customization isn't just about the cars you choose, it's about what you can do with them. Auto Sculpt is the new feature here, and it lets you put your personal touch on the car's look. You can shape the body kits, adjust aerodynamics, and really make that car your own. It's a cool feature that gives the cars an even more personalized feel. Now, in Carbon, the cars handle in very distinct ways. Exotics are the highest performing vehicles in terms of speed, but they're the hardest to control. If you want to master them, you'll need some serious skill. Muscle cars, on the other hand, are all about acceleration. They're great for getting up to speed quickly, but they fall short when it comes to top speed and handling. Finally, tuners offer the best grip and responsiveness, making them perfect for tight turns and precision driving. Sure, their top speed isn't the best, but if you're looking for a car that can cut corners fast, tuners are your go-to. While drifting may have made its mark in earlier Need for Speed titles, Carbon takes a different approach. Drifting is back, but it's not the same as the free-flowing style you experienced in Underground or Underground 2. The drift mechanics in Carbon feel heavier and less forgiving, as the game leans more toward precision over style. It's not about effortlessly sliding around every corner. Here, you need to find the right balance between throttle, braking, and steering to keep your car controlled while trying to maintain your speed. While it's not as smooth, arcade-like drifting from the earlier games, it does provide a solid challenge, especially in the tight canyon roads. It's a different kind of drift experience, one that focuses more on strategy and less on sheer fun. Now, canyon races. These are next level. Carbon introduces a new format where every race has real stakes. Whether it's a drift race or a standard race, the cliffside tracks mean you can't afford to make a mistake. If you go off track, you risk falling off the cliff, instantly losing the race. The intense narrow roads, the sharp turns, and the sheer drop-offs on either side make these races feel like life or death situations. It's a great way to raise the stakes, and it forces you to drive with precision. There's not much room for error here. One wrong move and you'll be flying off the edge. Now to the annoying parts of Carbon. One thing that quickly becomes tiresome in Carbon is the constant need to defend your territory. After you win a region, it feels like you're being challenged to defend it over and over again. It's a mechanic that's meant to add some depth and variety to the gameplay, but it quickly becomes repetitive. Instead of feeling like you're progressing toward the end game, you're stuck in this cycle of winning races and then immediately having to defend what you just won. The game asks too much of you, and this constant back and forth can feel like a grind. It's frustrating when you're trying to move forward in the story, but you're repeatedly pulled back into the same defensive races that take up a lot of time with little reward. Another downside is that the sense of speed just doesn't feel as exhilarating as it did in Most Wanted. While Carbon has its own distinct style, the racing doesn't pack the same punch. In Most Wanted, the thrill of escaping the cops and the sheer speed of the races kept you on the edge of your seat. But here, the racing feels a little slower and less intense. The speed doesn't hit you the way it did before, and because of that, the races can feel a bit dull. It doesn't help that the game can drag on. Carbon feels longer than it needs to be, and not in a good way. The constant need to win races, defend territories, and battle for control of regions starts to feel like a chore. By the time you're nearing the end game, it becomes a bit tedious, and the excitement of the early races starts to wear off. In Carbon, your crew members don't add much beyond basic race support. Nikki gives some guidance, but her role feels more like a plot device than a real character. The rest of your crew members are hired after defeating rivals and offer specific race skills, but they don't bring much personality or depth to the story. The crew system feels underused and could have been more impactful. It is just like when you feel alone with people around you. The music in Carbon didn't stand out for me as much as the previous titles. While it fits the game, it didn't hit the same level of excitement or iconic status as the soundtracks in Underground or Most Wanted. So I'm not going to dive too deep into it. Nothing about the soundtrack was particularly memorable for me. One possible reason is the sheer variety of the playlist. With about 20 more songs than the previous titles, the soundtrack feels more spread out, and even the stronger tracks don't get enough time to leave a lasting impression. Maybe that's why I don't feel nostalgic about any particular song from Carbon. Trust me, I've tried. The police in Carbon are a complete letdown compared to Most Wanted. In that game, escaping the cops felt like a real challenge, with high-speed chases and tactics that kept you on your toes. In Carbon, the police are too easy to outrun. The pursuit system doesn't carry the same level of intensity. It's almost as if the police are just there for show. After a while, it feels like you're not even being chased. They don't put up much of a fight, and escaping them becomes a non-issue. It takes away a lot of the excitement and tension that the police chases brought in previous games, making them feel more like a minor inconvenience than an actual challenge. Carbon is a good game that tries to return to the roots of Need for Speed while introducing some fresh features. The graphics, handling, and customization are all solid improvements over Most Wanted, but it falls short in several areas. While it brought back some exciting elements like night racing and drifting, it doesn't feel as groundbreaking as its predecessors.